the practical fields of research. It increases our insight on how to use theory into practice, plus to get known into the field of academia, into the field of research fraternity. And the fact that whatever research that you're doing is open to the entire world, research writing plays a very vital role. So, from 2 hours from now, with breaks in between, I would be taking you to a tour of what research looks like, what research feels like, how it is done, and what are the protocols and guidelines that we need to use when we are writing a research paradigm. There are different protocols and guidelines, because when you're writing research for a dissertation, for a PhD thesis, or a journal, it could be a country specific journal, it could be a Scopus, Elsevier, Springer journal. There are many platforms in which your research can get introduced to or get published. You can also publish your research works in the form of a book. So today we shall be exploring in a very practical manner as to how to move forward in these terms. What are the preparedness aspects that you need to be keeping in mind when you start the journey, and what are those certain challenges that we face as researchers and some of the red flags. From my understanding, I guess आप सभी लोग psychiatry, psychology, the field of research से वाकिफ होंगे थोड़ा बहुत, and you might be experts in this area also. So for some, this might come as a new thing. For some, this can be a refresher. So, notwithstanding any of the aspects or the dimensions, please feel free to ask in case you have any questions. So, let us get started for today. Today, I shall be showing you different platforms in which you can start your research work and you can start your writing also. Before entering into that phase, आप सभी से ये मैं I just want to build that insight कि when you're speaking about research is a combination of two words, re and search. Whatever knowledge, whatever discovery, whatever invention that has been made in any particular field or any particular discipline, when you are reworking on adding new knowledge to an existing state of information, then it is in layman terms known as research. Something that is already there and you are reinventing, researching something. So I'll be trying to make it more interactive so that it gives me an understanding about how much you know and what are the aspects in which we can add on to. So I would like to get started with a question to everyone present over here, that what do you know the difference between research, invention, and discovery? Do you know the difference between research, invention, and discovery? So it's over to you all. Please try to chime in your responses so that we all are on the same page of understanding. I repeat my question again. Please, do you know the difference between research, discovery, and invention?
Answer this question.
Sure. Thank you. Please go ahead.
In my view, the discovery is something that has been existed, but you have to just discover it. Like you have to search it. And invention is something similar to the discovery actually, but I think you have to discover it for the first time. For the first time, you're introducing something that would be that would be an invention. I think I am getting it right. So I hope I tried actually to answer this question. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a lovely way to answer, Fasiha. And I'm sorry, I might mispronounce your name because it's for the first time I'm getting to know the name. So I apologize from my side, but you tried your level best, and you were right in your own ways because when we are discovering something, we are coming in terms with a new thing. Okay. So, for example, the most common thing that we learn in the world history is Columbus discovered America, right? So, this is one of the common notions that we come across in the world history. So, America was first discovered by Columbus. So, he was the one who came to know that there is a geographical location in the map of the globe or in the entire world that can be termed as United States of America. Then after that, invention starts. For example, after you have discovered something, for example, we take the entire planet. The planet Earth was discovered. Then inside the planet, we came to know that there are trees, there are mountains, there are water bodies, there is oxygen, there is this, that. So gradually, we are inventing different things. Thomas Alva Edison, he invented something. Dr. Graham Bell, he invented something that was already discovered, and we are adding on new things through inventions. What happens in research is we work on certain discoveries, inventions, and then we do a complete meta analysis of the entire phenomenon, and finally, we come up with a new thing that is already not there. So, through your research, whatsoever it is, in whichever area it is, you are actually adding new information through your research to any area of discipline. For example, anxiety disorders and psychiatric medications. You will find ample researches in that. But when you're adding something new, something a new patent to that, or any medicinal or antipsychotic drug that you have created, or any new aspect that you came to know about pharmacokinetics in anxiety disorders, then these are certain areas in which your research is adding new knowledge to the existing pieces of information. Now, the next aspect would be, are you all aware of how to start a research process? Today, I will be dealing with three major aspects. First is in the first half an hour to 45 minutes, we'll discuss completely about research insights, research process. We'll take a few minutes gap, and then in the next 1 hour, we'll completely venture into how to write your research work. So this is, I did not want to completely jump into research writing at the first place, because unless and until we know how to do a standard, a valid, a reliable research, whatever we write to reflect our research might not be scientifically acceptable across the research fraternities in the entire globe. So it is very important for all of us to know how research is done and then how we write the same. So in the first 30 to 40 minutes, we'll discuss, take a quick tour towards these insights and then research writing. So to move forward, the next thing that I wanted to know about is, once we know that what research is, it's simply adding new information to the existing world of knowledge through different phenomenal or through different processes that are scientific in nature. The second aspect that I wanted to ask all of you is, before doing research, how do you come to know that what is the area in which you are going to do a particular research? For example, my doctoral study was in the field of autism spectrum disorder. Okay, it's a neurodevelopmental disability. So how do I get to know that I will be doing a research in ASD or autism spectrum disorder? Or how do I come to know that this is the kind of research, whether it's a qualitative study, it's a mixed model, it's a quantitative study, what exactly is the kind of research that I'll be venturing into? So I would like to get a quick yes or no from your side. Are you aware of how you get into the decision that you are going to pick up a particular topic for your research? Okay, over
Of
to all of you
how
once
you
again. Get into the decision that you are going to pick up a particular topic for your research. Okay, over to all of you once again.
Process actually, because I am into it. I'm already into it, and the kind of topic you have to choose depends upon your kind of aptitude towards that topic, and also the topic should be adding something new to the existing knowledge. That is, if there is something uh, on the internet or in the world that already been known, if you're adding something new in it and you're adding some knowledge into it and your topic describes something new, uh, and it would help the fraternity, the scientists, the researchers to take something new to the world, it would be better choice to have a new topic then. So I know how to choose the topic. Like, I have chosen mine one in the complicated grief therapy that has never been done on the grieved people of COVID-19. So it would be adding something new to the world, and they will be knowing something new about the complicated grief therapy.
Lovely way to put it up, Fasiha, and thank you so much for reflecting on the same. So, apart from the wonderful steps and processes that you described and reflected with each and every one of us, there are also certain more evidence based and scientific techniques that we all need to undertake when we are into the world of scientific research. Okay. So, here I'm using the word scientific again and again because we all know that research can be of many types, and the outcome of research, the implications of research can also be of many, many types. Unless and until we have certain evidence that this is working, unless and until your research has some kind of a replicability. For example, you developed a psychiatric based test. So whatever test that you are using in Pakistan, if I'm able to use the same test in India, if the same test is being able to be used in Spain, in Argentina, in any of the world countries, depending on the psychometric properties that you established. So this will give a complete overview that your research is scientific in nature. Otherwise, non-scientific researches are given no value in the academia or in the research fields. It might not have that much of a validity, usability, and your research might not get that credibility also. So, since many of us here wrote no, 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 I would like to, in a quick way, I would just like to add some more light on how do we actually reach to a decision in which we take a topic as a research. Topics can be many. I'm not going into that. So, topics can be many. So, based on this, I would like to get started that whatever is the field that you want to enter into research. For example, there are many, many fields, subfields in psychiatry, many subfields in psychology. For example, I wanted, right from my childhood, I wanted to know more about disability. Since the state in which I'm staying right now, there are a lot of gaps in practicing the in interventions in theoretical aspects when it comes to neurodevelopmental disabilities. So that was one of the first and foremost reasons why I sort of wanted to uh, move into the decision of trying to explore the disability area at the first place. So I've written something in the chat box. I'll be sending it right away once I finish touching up all the touching up
Madam
all the
Sarita,
aspects. Yes,
Madam,
yes, please.
Madam Sarita, we have shared the poll for choosing a topic for research. projects. So we have seen 71% of the participants, they said they are aware, or and
Okay.
21% of the participants, they have shown that they are unaware of the research choosing topic for research project.
Okay, so that's great. Thank you so much for
Thank
letting
you.
me know. So for everyone who know it, it will be a refresher. For the ones who don't know, that will be a new learning. So whenever we get started about having that first thought that this is the area in which I want to do a research, first I'll start when it comes to the scientific ways of conducting it. First I'll start by making different participant or non-participant, whether it can be field based, whether it can also be meta-analysis based. I'll get started with an observation. Okay, I hope you already are aware about the types of observation. It is there are different types. The most commonly used observation types are active participant observation. Another one is passive observation. Okay, so whatever is the kind of observation that you start, this is the first step towards deciding what is the research topic that you would undertake for your work. Second, whatever is the area that we choose, getting started with a field analysis plays a very important role, because just being at your own work desks and then deciding, not knowing about what is actually happening in the particular place or the geographical territory or the phenomenon, it your research might not be that much, the it might not have that much of a positive implication. That is why even before deciding, completely deciding your topic, it's always important to first observe the area. Second, it is very vital to do a field analysis. Third is you need to do a complete research literature review. Okay, so for example, if you choose autism and child rights, please look into various research journals or research papers of seminar proceedings, conference proceedings, book published papers, in press papers, dissertations, synopsis. All these are greater value literature review platforms where you would find work already done in your area. Why it is important? Because if you are completely replicating a particular research and it is not adding to your the field altogether, then what is the use in repeating the same thing again and again? Nothing new or helpful would be coming out of it. For example, this poll itself, it is also kind of a review that was done to get to know how many of you know it, how many of you need to know about it. Okay, so if every one of you would have known, I would not have repeated this again and again. So are you aware how to do a literature review? If at all no, then one of the best platforms to know about what literature works has already been done across the world. One of the greatest and the most easiest accessible platform is Google Scholar. Okay, so through that you can do whatever review that you want to do. And apart from that, before entering into research, you need to know that as per the guidelines, what is the kind of citation that you would be using. Every research should have a citation. Otherwise, if you are using the research of any other person, any other scientist, any other researcher without a citation, then you might be entering into a red flag known as plagiarism. Okay, if the research would have copyright issues, you might be infringing with the copyrights, and that might push you into more legal problems as well. Okay, so to keep that at bay, to avoid that, please see whether you are citing the authors of the research in a proper manner as per the protocols or not. Okay, and after that, you need to work in the area of something known as Google Trends. So, are you aware about Google Trends? How to use that, and how to know whether you are perfectly in the right way of choosing your research topic? I can see the participants from the hall as well. Journal of Pakistan Psychiatric Society. I can see the hall. So if the online participants and from the hall itself, if you can just raise your hands. Are you all aware about using Google Trends? So that would give me okay, I can see two hands raised. Yes, yes, please.
Madam Sareeta, we have created the poll for the second question that was of Google Trends. So
Yeah.
our participants answered, 38% of the participants were aware of Google Trends. However, 63% of the participants do not know what Google Trends are.
Okay, okay. Thank
Thank
you
you
so
very
much,
much.
ma'am. So let me repeat once again. Google Trends gives us a worldwide view of, even it gives us a retrospective view. For example, if you can see past 12 months में कैसा था, and you can go back also, okay? And it gives a country specific plus a worldwide view of a particular phenomenon. For example, in this particular search, मैंने mental health को लेके search किया है in India. अगर इसको मैं वर्ल्ड वाइड व्यू पे ले जाऊं, then you can see that this is the trend. मतलब इंटरेस्ट ओवर टाइम क्या है, उसके साथ साथ इंटरेस्ट वुड ऑल्सो मीन that how many researches, how many practices, how many interventions, what is the incidence, what is the epidemiology. It will give you a complete overview. So again, October 9 to 15, the search interest evidence practices in the field of mental health worldwide was this. But if we look into this particular field, then December 26th till January 1, there was no activity during this period across the entire world. The surge and the trend in mental health was just 36 as compared to October 2022, which was 100%. Okay, so here you will get a complete overview of the searches. For example, in Australia it was 100, in the United Kingdom it was 96, in Philippines it was 94. You can search for your own country as well. Okay, there will be, for example, in Pakistan it was 15, in Sri Lanka 13, UAE 16, Indonesia 13. Okay, India 11, Bangladesh 10. So this is how you will find a complete statistical overview. Okay, so this is not it. Google Trends will also give you a complete analysis of comparative. For example, in research we take variables, right? Independent variables, dependent variables. For example, if we look mental health compared with psych maybe psychiatry. Okay, you will see two lines here. Okay, so this is how it looks. The first is for mental health, the second line, the red line, is for psychiatry. So this was the trend and how things have been in the field of research, trends, epidemiology, incidences across the world. This also gives us, let us try searching another term. For example, mental health and medications. The search was a bit higher than what it was in psychiatry. Let us take another term, mental health and anxiety. You can see that this is mental health has come down and the trend is really high when it comes to anxiety. Okay, so this is an example that gives us what your research topic should be. You can see that mental health is there, of course, but people are more interested, people want to know, or the incidence rates, the epidemiology of anxiety is much more higher, then this could be one of the important areas of your research topic. Okay, developing anxiety based interventions in psychiatry, this could be one of the areas. Or let us add another comparison. Another comparison is, for example, COVID-19. Let's see the change. It is also in front of you. I hope it's visible. So during this period, it was at its peak, and during this phase, this came. Okay. So this also gives, I hope you all are able to correlate as to what I'm trying to convey is हम लोग गूगल ट्रेंड्स यूज करते हैं जानने के लिए कि क्या क्या ट्रेंडिंग टॉपिक्स हैं पर्टिकुलर एरिया में जहाँ पे रिसर्च की जरूरत है, ऑलरेडी रिसर्च हुआ है कि नहीं, या फिर इसमें रिसर्च करना जरूरी होगा कि नहीं. अगर हम ऐसे टॉपिक्स को लेंगे जो कि ट्रेंडिंग है ही नहीं, जहाँ पे कभी काम हुआ ही नहीं है, देन इसमें रिसर्च करना एक it will make more logic and sense as to why research would be important at the first place. और अगर नहीं है, then you might be replicating different studies by just taking this as your research phenomenon. Okay, last but not the least, let us see how this entire thing changes when it comes to things like more. Let's take this. Here also the trend lines are almost same. If we take another comparison as to then this is the trend line. Okay, here also if you can see that the psychiatric drugs trend is less than 1, this will also give you an ample analytical profile or a meta-analysis that I'm saying that there is a need of research in the field of mental health, schizophrenia, and psychiatric drugs as well. Okay, and this is a worldwide thing that we are seeing. Okay, it's the worldwide thing. You can make it country specific also. Okay, I'm not going more into that. I hope this is I'm also mentioning the same in the chat box for everyone's feasibility and convenience. And after you have analyzed the research gaps, finally you reach at the research topic. Okay, I have left the insights in the chat box also. So you can see I've I'm repeating it once again. It is observation, then field analysis. We do a complete research review. Then Google Trends will look into, yes, review we have done, but are we aware that it is needed at the first place? So then we go into Google Trends. From there, and the literature that we have reviewed, we come to know that there are certain research gaps. Finally, when we are completely convinced enough that not enough work has been done in this particular field and my research can add more value to the entire process, then I'll take up this particular topic. Okay, is whenever you are going to do a standardized research, and for using standardized psychometric tests, there are two ways. First of all, whatever psychometric tests that are already have been developed, जो ऑलरेडी पहले से डेवलप हो चुका है, इधर आप उनको यूज कीजिए या फिर मेक वन. एज रिसर्चर्स यू हैव एवरी freedom to make your own psychometric tool, provided that you follow the psychometric processes of tool standardization. Okay, when I'm saying about a psychometric tool, I'm implying to different kinds of tools and different kinds of psychometric tests. The most commonly used are paper pencil tests, and they are divided into two types of administration. First is using a questionnaire based tool. Second is using a schedule based tool. So are you aware about the difference between a questionnaire and a schedule? Because this is why I'm asking is because this is one of the common challenges that researchers face, and it is quite easy to get confused between both the two. The difference between a questionnaire and a schedule. Okay, so I got a response in the chat box. So based on that, I'm saying questionnaire is already available. The paper and pencil, the paper pen, whatever writing material is used, which is ready to use, that can be given to the participant to answer that. Okay, for example, I'm giving a written document in the form of questions to Saima Akhtar, and Saima is writing on that particular question based paper based docket. Then it becomes a questionnaire. A schedule is a bit different from a questionnaire when you are using the questionnaire to ask questions from the respondent. For example, I'm using a particular test for autism. My child is hyperactive in nature. My child is having concentration issues. So, as a parent, if I'm responding to that, then it becomes a questionnaire. But as a researcher, if I'm asking the question, is your child hyperactive? Is your child having issues with concentration? Then this particular document becomes a schedule. Okay. So when the respondent himself, herself, or otherwise is using the particular set of questions or the tool by themselves, then it is a questionnaire. A schedule is if you as a researcher are eliciting stimulus and responses from your respondents or from your research subjects, it becomes a schedule. So whenever you are using a particular kind of a psychometric test, please be aware that what is the kind of test that you are picking up. Is it a questionnaire or is it a schedule? If you are using it अगर गलत हम लोग यूज करते हैं, the entire implication of your research might not be that much valid when you reach to the conclusions or the outcome. उसके ऊपर जो भी आप एनालिसिस करेंगे, जो भी आप स्टैटिस्टिक्स भी यूज करेंगे, मिक्स मॉडल कुछ भी आप यूज कीजिए, अगर आपने टूल ही गलत चूज किया होगा, your entire research will be futile. Okay, that is why please try to be sure about आप टूल जो यूज कर रहे हैं, whether you want to make it yourself or use one. If you are using it, be sure whether it's a questionnaire or it is a schedule at the first place. Research tool कैसे बनाया जाए? It is a good thing for me to tell that each and every one of you can make a psychometric tool all by yourself. Because for example, एक particular research एक particular country के एक particular region में हुआ है, so उस particular region से उठा के आपने उस particular tool को अपने country में अपने region में use किया, but can everyone understand the language? Can everyone understand the technical aspects? Can everyone relate to the items of that particular test? All these are very challenging ground level questions. अगर items ही आपके research के साथ relate ही नहीं हो रहे हैं, अगर items ही आपके region के साथ, आपके culture के साथ, आपके prevalent practices के साथ match ही नहीं हो रहे हैं, your research. Okay, so there's a very easy technique to make a particular psychometric test. In the next 10 minutes, I'll be wrapping this up by saying you how it is done. So again, there are different documents that I'll be sharing from my side, but for a quick understanding of everyone, I'm sharing it now. So how do we know that कौन सा psychometric tool हमें बनाना है, whether it's stress, whether it's anxiety, whether it's neurodevelopmental disabilities, whether it's drug addiction, whether it's depression. First of all, जैसे मैंने कहा था कि doing a review about the topic of your research is the first step to get started. So here after reaching to that particular topic, आपको variables पता चल गया होगा, whether it's anxiety, For example, let us take anxiety and psychiatric medications. Okay. So iske baad, what I'll see is I'll try to make a questionnaire. For example, I'll make a questionnaire and then I'll list out different items. Okay. Am I feeling apprehensive? For example, if it's a self-report questionnaire, self-report means मैं खुद के बारे में, okay, लिख रही हूँ, बोल रही हूँ या जाहिर कर रही हूँ. Am I feeling apprehensive? Am I feeling apprehensive since the last 6 months? Am I feeling fearful about accepting new challenges? Am I feeling uncomfortable when I'm taking to social situations? Am I repetitively thinking about something? Am I procrastinating about something? Am I experiencing fatigue, restlessness, sleeplessness? Am I experiencing lifestyle and appetite changes? So, all these are related items related to the symptoms of anxiety if you paid close attention to. Okay, generalized anxiety disorders, these are some of the common symptoms that people face. So, since our questionnaire or any self-reporting that we wanted to make on anxiety and psychiatric drugs, so these are certain questions. Another question could be, if I have certain issues related to anxiety and mental health, will I go to a psychiatric doctor? Am I aware that psychiatrists are available in my region? So these are certain questions that I come up with. So what happens is many a times researchers think that this is the set of questions, ये ही पूरा का पूरा है, इससे आगे तो हो ही नहीं सकता, मैंने तो 100 questions बना लिए हैं. लेकिन when it comes to standardized questionnaires worldwide, items should not be so much closer to each other, items should not be so much dispersed from one another. Okay, so इसके बाद items लिखने के बाद हम एक उसको छानते हैं, we skim it, we sort of do a processing called as regression analysis in statistics. Okay, if you are using SPSS, you'll find a process, a phenomenon, it is regression analysis. Items को लेके अगर आपने regression analysis कर लिया, from the graph itself you will come to know कि आपने जो items लिया है वो बहुत आसपास है क्या, आपने जो item लिया है वो आपके topic से एकदम दूर है क्या. So by the rule of the thumb, जो ट्रेंड लाइन होता है उसके आसपास अगर उसको लग के जो आइटम्स है वी डोंट टेक दैट, बहुत दूर जो आइटम्स है वी डोंट टेक दैट, मिडिल ट्रेंड में जितने आइटम्स है वी इंक्लूड देम इन आवर रिसर्च. ओके, दिस इज द फर्स्ट स्टेप ऑफ साइकोमेट्रिक टूल प्रिपरेशन. सेकंड इज आई विल टेक एक्सपर्ट्स फ्रॉम द एरिया. ओके, स्टैंडर्डाइज्ड मेथड में वी टेक 5 एक्सपर्ट्स. ओके, 5 एक्सपर्ट्स में से 2 your own colleagues from your fraternity, 1 or 2 layman perspective, and third जिनके साथ आप ये टूल अप्लाई करेंगे. ओके, इन 5 एक्सपर्ट्स को लेके आपने पेपर बेस्ड ओके लिख के दिया and they need to make a rating from 1 to 5 based on one criteria. वो criteria क्या है? Relevance. Okay, you have mentioned your items, you have given ratings 1 to 4, the item is relevant or not. जितने सारे items हैं, for example 52 items are there, if all the five experts have given a 5 rating or 3 to 5 ratings दिया हुआ है, then those items only have to be retained in your psychometric tool. Okay, अगर 3 से ज्यादा एक्सपर्ट्स ने नो बोला है या फिर 1 से ओनली 3 तक रेटिंग दिया है एक पर्टिकुलर आइटम को, दैट सर्व्स एज अ रेड फ्लैग कि आपके साइकोमेट्रिक टूल में वो आइटम नहीं रहना चाहिए. ओके, दैट इज व्हाई an expert rating is given. You can choose any expert from your area and then you can go with this particular technique. Once you are doing this technique, इसका scores आपको मिलने के बाद एक average मिल जाएगा. So the total average will give you something called as SCVI, Scale Content Validity Index. Okay, I hope you all are aware about psychometric tests. May very important are 3 important features: their reliability, validity and usability. Okay, reliability is कंसिस्टेंसी कितना है आपके टूल में, वैलिडिटी जिस चीज के लिए वो टूल बनाया गया है अगर वो वही चीज मेजर कर रहा है कि नहीं. थर्ड इज यूजेबिलिटी, इज इट यूजेबल एट द फर्स्ट प्लेस और नॉट. ओके, फॉर एग्जांपल थर्मोमीटर, इंडिया में थर्मोमीटर हमें बताता है कि कितना टेम्परेचर है किसी भी चीज का, किसी भी एनवायरनमेंट का. अगर आपके कंट्री में थर्मोमीटर यही काम करता है देन इट इज रिलायबल. ओके, वैलिडिटी कैसे पता चले, थर्मोमीटर मुझे टेम्परेचर बताता है, थर्मोमीटर से मैं वेट चेक नहीं कर सकती. अगर थर्मोमीटर वेट बताएगा टेम्परेचर बताने के बजाय, तो इट इज नॉट वैलिड एट द फर्स्ट प्लेस. थर्मोमीटर में मर्क्यूरी यूज किया जाता है, अगर उसमें ऑक्सीजन डाल दिया गया वो फट जाएगा, so it is not usable at the first place. This is one of the layman ways to understand reliability, validity and usability. So this is how आपको scale level validity पता चल जाएगा using this technique. आइटम वाइज टेक्निक कैसे पता चल जाएगा, 5 एक्सपर्ट्स हैं आपके, एवरी आइटम में उन्होंने रेटिंग दिया है, एवरी आइटम रेटिंग का एवरेज निकालिए, उससे आइटम वाइज वैलिडिटी मिल जाएगा. द मोर द स्केल वैल्यू एंड ICVI आइटम वाइज अगर 60% से ज्यादा होता है, योर स्केल इज वैलिड टिल दैट एक्सटेंट. ओके, बहुत सारे स्केल्स 80 to 90% वैलिड भी होते हैं. इट मीन्स दैट स्केल और दैट पर्टिकुलर साइकाइट्रिक टूल, साइकोमेट्रिक टूल इज statistically valid and relevant. This is one of the best ways, easiest ways in which you can make your own psychometric tool. And इसके बाद you can use a reliability test. The commonly used test is the Kuder-Richardson method of reliability. And बहुत लोग मैंने देखा है दे आर यूजिंग स्प्लिट हाफ रिलायबिलिटी आल्सो 50-50 आइटम्स डिवाइड करके, बट दैट डज नॉट गिव दैट मच ऑफ अ रिलायबल रिजल्ट. So one of the commonly used scientific method of testing reliability is the Kuder-Richardson method. SPSS gives, or या फिर there are online websites also in which you can do this particular reliability test, and then you can do a usability measure. यूजेबिलिटी सिंपल यूजफुल है कि नहीं, समझ आ रहा है कि नहीं, जिस भी पर्टिकुलर पॉपुलेशन के साथ आप काम करेंगे उनको लेके ये देना है कि वेदर दे कैन एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड योर टूल और नॉट. ओके, इट इज ऑलवेज एडवाइज्ड कि अगर आप कोई रीजन स्पेसिफिक रिसर्च करना चाह रहे हैं देन प्लीज मेक योर साइकोमेट्रिक टूल इन दैट पर्टिकुलर language of communication. Okay, so this is how you can establish your own psychometric tool, and this is how we move forward in terms of conducting a particular research, starting from this particular insight that हमें research करना है, and उसके साथ साथ क्या टॉपिक होगा, क्या टूल लेंगे, एंड आफ्टर दैट we'll take or consider the process. Here it's 12 o'clock for me at this side. Let us take 5 minutes break. If any questions that you have, please feel free to post it in the chat box. In the next again 1 hour we'll get to know about complete process of research writing. Okay, so what I said is the research insights based on picking up your research topic and picking up the research tool, psychometric testing. So after this, we'll move into the process and writing. In these 5 to 7 minutes, please feel free to post your questions or take a quick break, maybe after 7 minutes. So this is how we move forward when we enter into the psychometric tool preparation phases. First is we need to okay, the question is how to select a specific tool for particular disorder. For example, how to assess stress, anxiety, and any other. I'm not saying whether it's a complete any particular. We have different types of disorders. As you all know, it is both in line with the psychoneurosis and the psychotic disorders as well. So I'm not trying to, say in a nutshell, combining both of them. I want to say that before doing any kind of a research, first or entering into the psychometric tool preparation phases, obviously you would have chosen your research topic, or which disorder that you want to take up, or which is that particular phenomenon that you want to study in your research, right? So since you have already reached to your research topic decision and you already know what your variables are, I hope you all are aware about the different types of variables. The most important variables in research are dependent variables and independent variables. Apart from that, there are certain variables that intermittently affect our research in some way or the other. They are also known as interfering variables or confounding variables. Okay. So whatever your variable is, please try to pick and choose that particular dependent variable, and based on that dependent variable, we are doing a particular psychometric tool. So what I will do is, for example, I want to do this particular research on autism spectrum disorder and child rights. So autism is a very vast area. What I'll do is, again through a meta-analysis, I'll come to know that skill development or abilities in autism spectrum area is very much important. So I'll choose this particular psychometric tool decision, that I want to prepare a tool based on what are the abilities of children with autism. Okay. So based on that, I'll try to pick different questions, like there are different types of abilities. I have already done a literature review and I come to know that there are different types of abilities. There are sensory abilities, intellectual abilities, life skills abilities, emotional abilities. There are organizational abilities, cognitive abilities, there is vocational ability. There are many more. So I'll need to first decide as to what are the important areas of abilities जो मुझे choose करना है for my psychometric tool. Then मैंने choose किया कि okay, let me take up emotional ability and vocational ability plus motor based abilities. Okay. Then एक एक ability को लेके मैंने पहले items तैयार करना शुरू किया. For example, I'll take up sensory ability or motor based ability. Is the child, so some of the items could be, is the child able to coordinate between fine motor skills and gross motor skills? Okay. Does the child have a pincer group? Is the child able to know about the distance of a particular thing? Is the child able to know whether this thing has to be picked up or not? Was the motor milestone of the child specified at the first place? Did the child reach at the particular milestone at the particular age? So all these are some of the rough based items जो कि आप अपने टूल में डाल सकते हैं या फिर ऐड कर सकते हैं. उसको छोड़ के the as I said, there are vocational abilities also. For example, is the child able to understand instructions of the other person? Is the child or is the person with autism able to follow the rules of the particular workplace? Is the child skimped? Is the child able to memorize whatever that is spoken or whatever that is instructed? ये सारी तमाम चीजें ऑटिज्म, न्यूरो डेवलपमेंट डिसेबिलिटी, कैरेक्टरिस्टिक सिम्टम्स को लेके हैं. मैं उसको अलग कुछ नहीं बोल रही हूँ. इसी एरिया को लेके इर्द गिर्द आई डिड अ मेटा एनालिसिस, आई ऑब्जर्व्ड, आई डिड अ फील्ड एनालिसिस. उसके बाद मुझे लगा हाँ ये सारी चीजें हैं जिसके बारे में मैं टूल बना सकती हूँ, and that will be useful. So this is how I list out all the items. आइटम्स लिस्ट होने के बाद मैंने एक्सपर्ट्स को दिए रेटिंग्स करने के लिए टू कम अप टू द वैलिडिटी मेजर कि मेरा टूल कितना वैलिड है. So to look into that, I will need an ICVI, which is called as Item Content Validity Index, or a scale SCVI, which is called as Scale Content Validity Index. Okay. कैसे? How to get all those values? You need a 5 एक्सपर्ट कमिटी, 5 एक्सपर्ट्स आपके ही. ओके. reach to this validity level of ICVI or SCVI, you will need 5 experts. 5 experts में से 2 आपके एरिया से होने हैं, 2 लेमैन जिनको इनके बारे में बिल्कुल पता नहीं है, और एक आपके चॉइस से. ओके, यू योरसेल्फ आर आल्सो वन ऑफ द इंटरनल एक्सपर्ट्स. So 5 experts is the minimum number. अगर 3, अगर 2, अगर 1 हुई, the validity index will have no value. 5 से जितना आप ले सकते हैं, that is based on your convenience. Okay. उसके बाद आपने अपने items को लिखा, mention किया, and side में you are mentioning 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. ऊपर लिखा हुआ है relevance. Whether your items are relevant for that particular psychiatric phenomenon or not. You are asking this item by item to all the 5 experts. And उस इंस्ट्रक्शन शीट में लिखा हुआ रहता है कि एक्सपर्ट्स को रेटिंग्स देने होते हैं 1 to 5. 1 means not relevant, somewhat relevant, needs revision, 3 mostly relevant, 4 5 is completely relevant. तो 1 से 5 तक ये इंस्ट्रक्शन एक्सपर्ट्स को दिए जाते हैं. बेस्ड ऑन दैट आइटम्स को लेके एक्सपर्ट्स अपने रेटिंग्स देते हैं. सो अगर हमने सारे एक्सपर्ट के सभी स्कोर्स को मिला के एक एवरेज निकाल दिया, दैट इज द SCVI और द स्केल लेवल कंटेंट वैलिडिटी इंडेक्स. और हमें अगर ICVI चाहिए कि पर आइटम को एवरी एक्सपर्ट ने क्या मार्क्स दिए हैं, अगर उसका एवरेज हमने निकाला आइटम बाय आइटम, रो बाय रो, ओके, देन इट बिकम्स द आइटम लेवल CVI. सो आपको कौन से आइटम्स अपने टेस्ट में रखना है, 2 क्राइटेरिया है. पहला, आपने सारे आइटम्स को लिख लिया, सभी को SPSS में आपने फीड किया, उसका रिग्रेशन एनालिसिस किया. रिग्रेशन में आपको कुछ इस तरीके का लाइन दिखेगा, और डायगोनल लाइन विथ डॉट्स. जो आइटम नंबर्स के डॉट्स रिग्रेशन लाइन के सबसे नजदीक होंगे, इट मींस दे आर वेरी वेरी common, they are repeating again and again, so please don't use these items. Okay, review those items once again. And जो items line के सबसे दूर dispersed area में होंगे, it means ये items आपके टूल के लिए मैच कर ही नहीं रहा है, सो इन आइटम्स को भी हमें अवॉइड करने हैं. रिग्रेशन लाइन के पास में जो आइटम्स है एवरेज में आपको दिख रहा है, दोज आइटम्स आर टू बी रिटेन्ड. नेक्स्ट रूल ऑफ द थंब इज CVI मेथड, जो मैंने कहा. इन दोनों को लेके जिन एक्सपर्ट्स में ने आइटम्स को 3 से 5 मार्क्स दिए होंगे, दोज आइटम्स शुड बी रिटेन्ड. एंड फाइनली, सिंस द रिसर्चर इज आल्सो एन एक्सपर्ट, नंबर ऑफ, फॉर एग्जांपल आपने 200 आइटम्स की लिस्ट कर दिए, अगर हमें 200 आइटम का एक साइकोमेट्रिक टूल दिया जाए, हमें the answering of the tool will be much more stressful for us, right? So as per the scientific evaluations committees across the world, plus minus 30 is the number to be present in a particular psychometric tool. Okay, so this is how you are reaching to a conclusion from how to get started in making your psychometric tool and finally how to do it and reach to a conclusion of finalizing. फाइनलाइज करने से पहले हम एक पायलट स्टडी करते हैं कि जितने भी आप जिन पेशेंट्स के साथ, जिन रिसर्च सब्जेक्ट्स के साथ आप अपना जो रिसर्च करना चाहते हैं, कुछ लोगों को लेके, कुछ सब्जेक्ट्स को लेके 10 से 15 उनको लेके आप अपने टूल को प्लीज administer it with them, and finally based on their responses you will get a complete statistical and qualitative overview of establishing your own psychometric tool as your own patent, your own invention, your own research accomplishment. Okay, isko leke bhi you can write a book, you can write it in the form of your own research tool. आप इसको बना सकते हैं proper way में, and then you can also get it published in different indexed journals. Okay, both your national based as well as international journals. This is also one of the research papers that you can write. Okay, so I hope this is clear, and Okay. Another question that I can see is मैं common questions को पहले ले रही हूँ. If we check or develop a questionnaire, how to check its reliability? As I had said, reliability का मतलब consistency. इंडिया में जो टूल तैयार किया है, is the same tool be used? Can it be used in US? Can it be used in Argentina? Can it be used in Spain? For example, how do we know that water is reliable or not? Water, we know it is H2O, okay, 2 molecules of water. So अगर यहाँ पे पानी जैसा बनता है, अगर आपके यहाँ पे पानी वैसे ही बनता है, then water जिस भी process से बना हुआ है, it is reliable because there is consistency. Okay, so statistically, how do we check whether our tool is reliable or not? There are many statistical methods. For example, एक है 50-50 method. There's a split half method, odd even method. Okay. For example, there are 23 items. So 1, 3, 7, 9, 11 item numbers, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 odd numbers, even numbers को अलग अलग करके उनका averages लेके देखा जाता है कि कितना score आ रहा है. Every time, please remember that average or an average percentage 60 plus is a good number statistically. Okay. So odd even method and 50-50 मतलब अगर 50 सेट ऑफ आइटम्स है आपके क्वेश्चनर में, अगर आपने 1 से 50 देन 50 51 से 100 ऐसे अगर स्प्लिट हाफ कर लिया, वो भी एक रिलायबिलिटी मेथड है. लेकिन ओवर द इयर्स इट हैज बीन सीन दैट द ऑड इवन मेथड एंड द 50-50 मेथड is not that much of a scientific evidence values when it comes to measure the reliability of a proper psychometric tool. That is why it is established again that we use something known as the Kuder-Richardson method. Okay, if you are using SPSS, इसमें से directly you test of reliability में जाके आप अपने data को feed करके use the Kuder-Richardson method. Please click on that. It will give you an output which gives you reliability of the tool, and that is the established score for your particular. Okay. Now I'm going to, now there are just 2 more questions. So now I'm going to the next question, which is asking that what are the examples of dependent and independent variables. At the first place, I'm very short में बता देती हूँ ये दोनों होते क्या है. इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल वो है जिस फिनोमेनन को आप स्टडी करना चाहते हैं. डिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल वो है उस फेनोमेनन के चलते जिसमें चेंज आ रहा है, चाहे बिहेवियर हो गया, चाहे एनवायरनमेंट हो गया, कुछ भी हो गया, जिस चीज में चेंज आ रहा है या जिस चीज में आप चेंज लाना चाहते हैं, जो कि वोलेटाइल है, चेंज होने में उसका there's a chance that it will change. If you are intervening, then that particular variable or factor is known as dependent variable or dependent factor. Confounding, I had said कि कुछ चीजों को छोड़ के भी ऐसे वेरिएबल्स होते हैं जो कि दिखती नहीं है लेकिन they are also influencing your research. They are called as confounding variables. Okay, confounding variables को if we use statistics, एक आता है error. So that error जो है that itself is the calculation of your confounding variable in the research that you are taking. Okay. Example of dependent and independent variable. For example, the effect of yoga on depression. Okay, मैं योगा करने से मेरा डिप्रेशन बढ़ेगा या कम होगा? क्योंकि डिप्रेशन बढ़ेगा या कम होगा योगा करने के वजह से. So yoga becomes the independent variable and depression becomes the dependent variable. डिप्रेशन का मैंने स्केल लिया, एक प्री पोस्ट डिजाइन किया. योगा करने से पहले डिप्रेशन क्या था, योगा करने के बाद डिप्रेशन क्या है. Since the value will change before and after, or if it's a repeated measure, आपने कुछ भी नहीं किया, 3 महीने बाद क्या हो गया, क्या हुआ है, what is the level of depression, then this is an example of what independent and dependent variable is. Okay. Effect of benzodiazepines on mental health. Effect of dopamine neurotransmitter interventions on schizophrenia. So the dopamine neurotransmitter interventions आप जो कर रहे हैं, is the independent variable and schizophrenia is the dependent variable here. Okay. ऐसा नहीं है कि सिर्फ यही ये है, सिर्फ ये है, उसका आप उल्टा भी कर सकते हैं. Effect of schizophrenic episodes on the efficacy of dopamine neurotransmitter levels in a person. ये उल्टा हो गया. Schizophrenia becomes the independent variable and dopamine neurotransmitter becomes the dependent variable. So कोई particular चीज जो आप स्टडी करना चाहते हैं is the independent variable. स्टडी करने के वजह से या यूज करने के वजह से किसी दूसरे फैक्टर में एस्पेक्ट में क्या चेंज आता है, ऊपर आता है, नीचे आता है या चेंज नहीं होता, वो डिपेंडेंट है किसी एक फिनोमेनन पे. So that becomes the dependent variable. So after this, taking the last question, in this particular question, the research is autism and behavioral changes in clinical setting. Which are the variables that should be added? So yeah, for example, autism, as I had said, it's a neurodevelopmental issue, and in clinical settings, if I'm saying it can be an outdoor thing, it can be an inpatient thing. So first of all, your areas could be the settings of the clinic portfolios in which you are taking up. It means the environment is one, whether it's OPD or IPD. Another thing is whether the behavioral changes have a consistency and what is the temporal time. Intervention शुरू करने से पहले क्या behavioral changes थे, interventions के बाद and दौरान क्या क्या हो रहे हैं. One of the major things in autism is what we do, that is called as ABA, applied behavior analysis. This is one of the strongest aspects that reflects the behavioral changes of children with autism. Then ABA या फिर ABC, antecedent, behavior and consequence study को भी आप clinical settings में behavioral changes में tap करने के लिए ले सकते हैं. For example, stimming behavior, है ना, बच्चे हेड बैंग करते हैं, ऐसे ऐसे टैप करते हैं, खुद को नोचते हैं, सेल्फ हार्म इज देयर. बहुत सारे स्टिमिंग टाइप्स हैं. कुछ कुछ ऐसे फिंगर्स को रिंगलिंग करते रहेंगे, टो वॉकिंग करते रहेंगे. सो देयर आर डिफरेंट टाइप्स. सो ABC मतलब अगर स्टिमिंग ज्यादा हो रहा है, स्टिमिंग से पहले क्या हुआ था जो कि स्टिमिंग को ट्रिगर किया, दैट बिकम्स द एंटीसीडेंट. बिहेवियर इज स्टिमिंग, स्टिमिंग के बाद बच्चे में क्या चेंज आया या फिर इंडिविजुअल में क्या चेंज आया. So ABC, ABA, these are some of the variables that you can add to the set of factors as well. Okay. So I guess I've almost covered all the questions. If any more questions are there, please feel free to reach out to Dr. Buhan, your department and the organizers. They have my email ID. I'll also post it here. Please feel free to reach it out. Now let's discuss about research writing, the thrust of today's topic on how do we write. I will be sharing a slide from my side, and from now on you will be looking into what takes to be prepared to write your research, what are the needs, and how to get started, how to make it successful in the most positive way so that it reaches its optimal aspect. So now I'm just sharing the screen from. Are you able to see this on your screen?
Yes, ma'am, we can see.
Yeah, thank you so much. Let's get started. Today the focus was mostly on research insights, what are the processes and research writing. Some of the aspects, majority part of it we covered. So when it comes to, I'm not repeating this thing because we have already discussed. When it comes to research writings, the protocols and the guidelines, we need to get started with a bit of a preparation. Okay. Without the preparation, if you are writing your research and if you are getting it published, then you might enter into some of the major troubles that have happened with different researchers across the world. So as a preparedness thing, as an immunity, a research immunity thing, you need to be having certain things in your mind and certain things at your desk so that you are safe, your institution is safe, your research subjects are safe, your research is safe, your writing is safe, your publication is safe. Okay. So how to get started with it is the first thing that needs to be taken up is informed consent and assent. Informed consent and assent, I hope you all know about it. Informed consent is something that is given by the caregiver of a patient or a person or your subject. Informed assent is if the patient himself, herself, or otherwise gives their own consent that yes, the research can be conducted on them, then this reflects informed assent. Okay, so informed consent is second party consent, approval that you can do the particular research with them, on them, and informed assent is given by the respondent themselves. Okay, so just a sec. Okay, so written informed consent and assent is a written document. You need to write by giving a your name, your institute, your organization, your designation, and your credentials. Affiliation should be mentioned first on the top of the page. Second is your research outline. Third is the consent and signature. Okay, and fourth is the disclaimers. Disclaimers is very important. There are two disclaimers. Please make a note of it if you have any writing material. The two disclaimers are: first is the researcher and the research institute will not be held responsible for any loss of life or property. Second thing, any copyright infringement of this particular research should lead to legal discrepancies or conflict of interest and should be compulsorily shared or informed to the principal researcher or the principal investigator of the research. These are the two disclaimers that you need to write in the informed consent and assent format. Okay. Then informed consent is taken from mostly caregivers, assent by the person. Why both are important and both are complementary to each other? Because in severe cases, when the person is facing cognitive distortions, when the person will not be able to understand whatever you are saying or communicating at the first place, so here informed consent becomes important. Informed assent तो ले ही नहीं सकते because वो बंदा समझने के हालत में ही नहीं है. Okay, and assent is of course directly from the person or directly from your research subject. Second, what is there as per there are different protocols in different countries. For example, the UGC Grants Commission of India, we are instructed that our data of research should be retained with us for at least 10 years from now. For example, if I'm doing a research on 2022, at least till 2033, my research should be retained. Okay, so that is why you need to decide कि आप जो भी research कर रहे हैं, जो भी documents research का बन रहा है, वो कहाँ पे आप save करेंगे, whether it's your laptop, whether it's your Google Drive, whether it's your hard disk, whether it's a pen drive, whether it's a CD, where exactly. So by rule of the thumb, please keep it in multiple storage systems so that अगर एक खराब हो जाता है दूसरा आप access कर सकते हैं. Okay, and if possible keep it password protected ताकि by chance एक IT failure होता है, your data will be kept safe, it will not be plagiarized, it will not be stolen. Okay, so decide where you are keeping your data saving technologies. थर्ड आता है आपके रिसर्च नोट्स. जो भी नोट्स आप बनाएंगे कहीं ना कहीं पे तो आप सेव करेंगे, राइट? बिफोर योर राइटिंग रफ नोट्स लेने, it is advised that you take rough notes because जब हम रिसर्च सेटिंग्स में काम करते हैं, चाहे वो लैबोरेटरी सेटिंग्स हो, चाहे वो क्लिनिक सेटिंग्स हो, चाहे वो हॉस्पिटल सेटिंग्स हो, चाहे वो होम सेटिंग्स हो, चाहे वो रिहैब सेटिंग्स हो, कहीं पे भी इट इज one of the natural tendencies of the human mind कि आप भूल सकते हैं. There are chances that we forget some important and intricate points. So please you can use different Android apps. They are free to use. They can be computer based or Android based applications. One of the common ones easy to use are Keep Notes and Atlas TI. Atlas TI is also a qualitative software for analysis of your qualitative research. Okay, in both in Keep Notes and Atlas CI, there will be features to add photographs, to add notes, to add memos, for alarms, for voice recordings, for video recordings, everything that you want. Okay, so consent लेने के बाद प्लीज मेंटेन रफ नोट्स ऑफ योर रिसर्च, ताकि फाइनल रिसर्च राइटिंग करने के टाइम आप इंपॉर्टेंट चीजें भूले ना. ओके, देन कम्स रिसर्च फोल्डर स्पेसिफिकेशंस. बहुत बार, more than 90% of times I have seen many desktops, I have seen many laptops, many Android and iPhones, I have seen many paperback folders जो कि उनके स्क्रीन्स भरे हुए रहते हैं, नोट्स से भरे हुए रहते हैं, वर्ड के जो जो डेटा उन्होंने सेव किया होगा. इट मेक्स द प्रोसेस so stressful and chaotic. By the end of your research you will end up getting more frustrated in the entire process. तो रिसर्च स्टार्ट करने से पहले 5 फोल्डर आप कंपल्सरीली अपने सिस्टम्स में बना लीजिए. 5 क्या क्या है? They are the 5 foundations of research and research writing. First is introduction, review of literature, method of study, discussion and conclusion, references and bibliography. Okay, entire phase of research में एक short term research है, longitudinal research है, जो भी है, आपको introduction से related जो जो data मिला introduction folder में रखते जाइए. Review of literature में आपने newspapers, periodicals, seminal works, conferences, जर्नल्स, बुक्स, न्यूज़पेपर्स या फिर किसी के डायलॉग्स आपने सुने हो, नैरेटिव्स, रिफ्लेक्शंस, जो भी आपने पढ़ा है, लिखा है, प्राइमरी, सेकेंडरी, टर्शियरी स्टेजेस में से, सोर्सेज में से, रिव्यू ऑफ लिटरेचर में सब भरते जाइए, वहां पे सेव करते जाइए. मेथड ऑफ स्टडी आप जिस जिस तरीके से करे हैं लिखते जाइए. एंड प्लीज डोंट फॉरगेट टू record the bibliography each and every single time. Okay, to keep or to avoid any sort of conflict of interest, to avoid any kind of legal discrepancies that could be bombarded on you at any point of time. Okay, so please maintain the bibliography and references folder without fail. अगर आप इंटरनेट से देख रहे हैं, कौन सा वेबसाइट है, कॉपी पेस्ट कीजिए. कौन ऑथर्स हैं, कॉपी पेस्ट कीजिए. किस ईयर में, अगर आपको ईयर नहीं मिल रहा है, आपने जिस डेट पे उस साइट को गए होंगे, रिट्रीव्ड ऑन 14 नवंबर 2022, ये आप मेंशन कीजिए. Who are the authors and what is the synopsis of that particular work that you have gone through in a particular website. Okay, so this is how folder specifications needs to be mentioned. After that, research writing documents and safety. पहले भी मैं ये बोल चुकी हूँ कि कीप योर स्टफ पासवर्ड प्रोटेक्टेड एंड कॉपीराइट इश्यूज पे आप अपने रिसर्च का एंड दूसरों के रिसर्च का भी वी नीड टू मेंटेन दैट इंटेग्रिटी एंड एथिक्स. रिसर्च राइटिंग के लिए चाहे कोई भी लैंग्वेज में हम अपने रिसर्च को व्यक्त करें, लेट अस स्टार्ट cultivating the habit of using an anti-plagiarism software. It can be either bought by your institute, installed in the computers of the institute that every researcher can use at any time, or there are also anti-plagiarism websites जो कि आप फ्री में जाके अपना काम जो है कॉपी पेस्ट उस विंडो में अगर करेंगे, when you click on the output it will give you a replicable data, a new data, जिसमें कि आइडेंटिफाइबल एंड नॉन आइडेंटिफाइबल एस्पेक्ट्स होते हैं. जो कॉमन होते हैं, रेड मार्क्स होते हैं, वो कॉमनली आइडेंटिफाइबल लिखावट होती है. like in our country, plagiarism in research and PhD doctoral works is only 7%. 7% से ज्यादा वो लोग allow नहीं करते. तो our research has to be that new, our writing has to be that new. ओके, अभी राइटिंग में इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज में या फिर किसी भी रीजनल लैंग्वेज में अगर हम लिखते हैं, कॉमन वोकैबुलरी तो यूज होगा ही, दैट इज ऑब्वियस. पानी को पानी ही बोल सकते हैं, खाना तो नहीं बोल सकते. लेकिन हाउ यू आर फ्रेमिंग योर सेंटेंसेस, हाउ यू आर यूजिंग द ग्रामर, what are the strong vocabulary that you are using, what are the antonyms, what are the synonyms, what are the phrasal verbs. ये सारी चीजें अहमियत रखते हैं to make your work look and feel unique, novel and anti-plagiarized. Okay, that is why it's also my request to the psychiatric society that if possible please help the researchers with add-on works, add-on sessions, like अगर कोई भी language में, if it's English, if it's Hindi, Urdu, any language that you're writing, please give certain extra classes on the psychiatric verbiage, research verbiage and the grammar verbiage also. So उससे किस तरीके की राइटिंग फिनिश ऐड होनी चाहिए हमारे रिसर्च राइटिंग में, दैट विल टेक यू टू न्यूअर हाइट्स एंड ग्रेटर हाइट्स. फाइनली रिसर्च राइटिंग फॉर्मेट. रिसर्च राइटिंग के बहुत सारे प्लेटफॉर्म्स होते हैं, बुक्स होते हैं, जर्नल्स होते हैं, डेजर्टेशंस होते हैं, वी हैव समथिंग लाइक रिसर्च नोट्स होते हैं, सेमिनार वर्क्स होते हैं. एग्जैक्टली किस चीज के लिए आप लिख रहे हैं पहले वो जानने की जरूरत होती है, एंड देन उसके फॉर्मेट को यूज करके यू कैन कंटिन्यू योर रिसर्च राइटिंग. ओके, चूजिंग अ राइटिंग प्लेटफॉर्म इंट्रा ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल. आपके इंस्टीट्यूट में, आपके ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में देयर शुड बी, इफ यू डोंट हैव प्लीज ट्राई टू मेक इट. We have here something called as an internal research committee. We have our IRCs. So IRCs ने हमारे लिए different guidelines इंट्रा ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल ऑलरेडी बना के रखे हैं. There are guidelines, there are formats जो कि ऑर्गेनाइजेशन से बाहर नहीं जाएगा. It is a strict confidential document. Okay, जिसको सिर्फ आप ही लोग फॉलो करेंगे टू मेंटेन अ यूनिफॉर्मिटी, टू मेंटेन अ स्टैंडर्डाइज्ड प्रोफेशनल पोर्टफोलियो. एंड दिस IRC प्लेज अ वेरी वाइटल रोल इन स्कीमिंग के कौन सा रिसर्च वर्क को यस करना चाहिए, अप्रूव करना चाहिए या फिर नो करना चाहिए. ओके, सो इंट्रा ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल भी राइटिंग प्लेटफॉर्म्स होते हैं. देयर आर एक्सटर्नल सोर्सेस. अगर अपने ऑर्गेनाइजेशन से बाहर आप जो भी प्लेटफॉर्म के लिए लिखना चाहते हैं. एंड फाइनली प्राइमरी एंड सेकेंडरी सोर्सेस, जैसे मैंने कहा जर्नल्स हो गए, न्यूज़पेपर्स हो गए. देयर आर डिफरेंट ऑनलाइन platforms also, open access platforms that will come to know. So where exactly you want to write and how, ये सब चीजें the last two slides said. And for choosing a writing platform you need to identify the publisher. Ideally we have state level publishers, we have national level publishers, we have international level publishers. Agar for example Neelkamal Publications here in India is one of the most acclaimed national publishers. So for our academia and research, if we are publishing something, if it is published through Neelkamal Publications, if it is chosen by them, then we get a lot of more standard points in our professional practice. So please identify who are the publishers with whom you are going to publish your research writing. लिखते जाएंगे रिसर्च कहाँ पे पब्लिश करना है, अगर ये जानकारी नहीं होगी, गलत शलत जगह पे आप अगर अपने रिसर्च को पब्लिश कर देंगे, इम्पैक्ट फैक्टर उसका बहुत कम होगा या फिर होगा ही नहीं, देन आपके प्रोफेशनल एक्सपर्टीज एरिया में आपका काम ज्यादा दूर तक जा नहीं पाएगा, उसकी क्रेडिबिलिटी उतनी हो नहीं पाएगी. Okay, so please identify. World class levels में there are Scopus publications, Elsevier publications, Springer publications, your own intra-organizational publications also. So please reach far and wide, explore far and wide. Okay, copyrights is a must, and as I had already said, copyrights को आप खुद के copyrights भी रखिएगा, दूसरे के copyrights के integrity को भी संभालना है, and copyrights में proper citations use करते हैं, that I'll discuss in the other slide. And last but not the least, for choosing a writing platform, आपको decide करना होता है कि आप किस writing platform को choose करेंगे. Some are free to use and open access. कोई भी कभी भी आपके research को पढ़ सकते हैं. Okay, एंड सेकंड there is another known as paid writing platforms, जिसमें कि जो भी रीडर है उनको कुछ पेमेंट करके उनको पढ़ना होता है या फिर प्रोक्योर करना होता है या फिर पासवर्ड रहता है. आफ्टर द पेमेंट इट इज अनलॉक. इट इज ऑल योर डिसीजन, आपके रिसर्च के नीड एंड डिमांड को लेके, whether you choose free to use, open access or semi access and paid platforms. Okay, let's move ahead. So research writing में I'll take all the five things one by one. I won't take much time. I know it's high time. So क्या क्या अगर research writing में phases होते हैं: introduction, review of literature, method of study, discussion and conclusion, citations and bibliography. Okay. So introduction में क्या क्या होना चाहिए लिखते हैं जब? It should be first anti-plagiarized. आपने लिखते लिखते ही स्किम करते करते ही आपका रिफाइन इतना हो चुका होगा कि दैट शुड बी एंटी प्लागियराइज. योर इंट्रोडक्शन शुड बी क्लियर एंड कॉन्साइज. जो आप कन्वे करना चाहते हैं, अपने वेरिएबल्स को इंट्रोड्यूस करना चाहते हैं, प्लीज कंफ्यूज मत कीजिएगा आपके रीडर को. जितना आप फैक्चुअल रख सकते हैं, जितना प्रैक्टिकल रख सकते हैं, जितना क्लियर रख सकते हैं, योर वेरिएबल्स विल बी इंट्रोड्यूस्ड इन दैट पर्टिकुलर मैनर. ओके. जब हम लिखते हैं प्लीज यूज जस्टिफाइड फॉन्ट्स एंड इंडेंट्स. बहुत बार रिसर्च प्रोटोकॉल्स में होता है कि आप जस्टिफाइड फॉन्ट्स ही यूज करें, इंडेंट्स यूज करें, बाकी जो साइड में होता है, बीच में होता है, देयर विल बी स्पेसिफिकेशंस. सो कौन से प्लेटफॉर्म में आप लिख रहे हैं, पहले उसके गाइडलाइंस पढ़ के अकॉर्डिंगली प्रिपेयर योर रिसर्च राइटिंग डॉक्यूमेंट. ओके. appropriate citations all through. अगर मेरा रिसर्च आपने लेके लिखा होगा एंड प्रॉपर मेरा नाम ईयर कुछ मेंशन नहीं किया होगा, then it might upset me. Okay, I might not feel good about it and I might feel कि अरे मेरा काम है, किसी ने शायद कॉपी पेस्ट कर दिया है. It happens brutally across. Okay, so please write appropriate citations. For example, अगर मेरा कोई काम आपने साइट किया है, रेफर किया है, after you are writing the reflection part of it, meta-analysis part of it, please mention Behera 2022 Journal of Positive Psychology bracket close. Okay. Then उसका proper citation APA style में, Chicago style में, MPA style में, कौन से style में आपको लिखना है, it depends on the guidelines that you are following. Okay. So tapping references and bibliography, Microsoft Word में and Google Scholar में. अगर आपको पता नहीं है कि रेफरेंसेस एंड बिब्लियोग्राफी कैसे लिखते हैं, माइक्रोसॉफ्ट वर्ड में, बिब्लियोग्राफी में सेक्शन में, and Google Scholar also, if time permits I'll show you, you can write each and every reference. Okay. So in research writing, please focus on the abstract, introducing your concepts, complete profile of the introduction or your variables, उससे related incidents, epidemiology, fact sheets, myths, tables, graphs, अगर कोई images हैं with references, please mention that. So introduction से ही आपके writing में कितना writing flow है वो आप कायम बनाते रखिए, ताकि एक के बाद एक चैप्टर जब आप लिखेंगे हर एक में एक लिंक हो. ऐसा नहीं है कि इंट्रोडक्शन एक पैरेलल लाइन में, रिव्यू ऑफ लिटरेचर दूसरे पैरेलल लाइन में. नो, it won't make it convenient for the readers at the first place to understand कि आपने लिखा क्या है. So please set the research writing flow. Next, let us come to the review of literature. Review of literature में maximum जो writers हैं वो गलत वे में लिखते हैं. So review of literature should be a story based and in a hierarchy. For example, 2001 में Balaji et al. Had conducted a survey based on the mental health and stress levels of school children. The research indicated that stress levels of adolescent school-going children is higher than the children in the middle school age group. The drugs used in this particular study also highlight towards certain side effects that can be checked by lifestyle changes and dietary supplements. So this is how Dr. Balaji ने जो 2001 में स्टडी किया था उसका एक मेटा एनालिसिस मैंने कहा. मे बी 2000 and for example 2007 में Sareeta et al. Et al means Sareeta and her associates. I had a team. Sareeta et al. highlighted that autism spectrum disorder and child rights should go hand in hand. Through her developed psychometric tools, she worked on specific abilities of children with autism spectrum disorder, and these were the specificity and sensitivity of the tests that were highlighted in this particular study. So this is how 2001 में, 2007 में, 2009 में, 2015 subsections. बहुत बार ऐसा देखा गया है कि लिटरेचर रिव्यूज में सबसेक्शंस होते ही नहीं है, लेकिन फॉर एग्जांपल इफ इट्स एंजाइटी, सिम्टम्स ऑफ एंजाइटी को लेके क्या क्या हायरार्की बेस्ड काम हुआ है, एपिडेमियोलॉजी ऑफ एंजाइटी पे क्या क्या हायरार्की बेस्ड काम हुआ है, दी सिम्टम रेड फ्लैग्स ऑफ एंजाइटी में क्या क्या काम हुआ है, हायरार्की बेस्ड. सो उसको सब सेक्शंस में लिखिए ताकि जो भी पढ़ रहे हैं, जो भी आपने काम किया है, इट रिफ्लेक्ट्स इन योर रिसर्च राइटिंग. ओके, then moving ahead, these three I've taken it in one slide only. So method of study is one very important in your research writing. इसको भी अगर आपने स्क्रीनिंग किया हुआ है, फील्ड स्टडी किया हुआ है, टूल डेवलप किया हुआ है, देन मेथड में फेज 1 एंड मेन रिसर्च ऐसे करके दो सेक्शंस में लिखा जाता है. ओके, फेज 1 में आपने जो जो किया है, फेज 1 में ऑब्जर्वेशन किया, फिर फील्ड एनालिसिस किया, फिर टूल डेवलपमेंट किया, स्टैंडर्डाइजेशन किया, टूल एप्लीकेशन किया, देन टूल फाइनलाइजेशन किया, पायलट स्टडी किया, पायलट स्टडी के रिजल्ट्स क्या हुए, ये सब फेज 1 में मेथड ऑफ स्टडी में लिखना है. देन सेकंड फेज में मेन रिसर्च. मेन रिसर्च में आपके व्हाट इज द प्रोसीजर. For example, the present research is a quasi experimental research having 53 subjects as the samples of research, drawn through stratified sampling or drawn through convenience sampling, and the duration of this particular research was 6 months. A repetitive measure analysis was done after 3 months after the main research. Based on the research protocols and research aims and objectives, the research was analyzed using statistical analysis and qualitative analysis of data. So ये एक निचोड़ में प्रोसीजर में हमें पहले लिखना होता है. Then we write की tools, क्या क्या टूल है. Your sample frame, usually sampling and number of subjects और samples उसको अलग अलग लिखा जाता है, लेकिन current trends in research writing में we use something known as sample frame. Sample frame में दो टेक्निक्स, दो सब पॉइंट्स आते हैं कि what are the sampling technique क्या है. We don't write random sampling technique at all, क्योंकि उसको आजकल के research fraternity में माना नहीं जाता. We cannot just randomly go and अपने मन से choose कर लिया subjects को and start doing a research. No, we need to go with something called as, if at all you are using it, convenience sampling. Okay, so इसमें क्या, या फिर respondent sampling, उनका informed consent assent लेके ही हमने ये research किया है. Okay, so after this sampling frame में ये भी लिखा जाता है, which is the geographical area from which the subjects were taken or included in the research. Inclusion criteria क्या क्या है. For example, children diagnosed with anxiety were included in the children who did not show anxiety symptoms or symptoms in which anxiety was not reported by the caregivers were not included in this present study. So what are the inclusion criteria? ये भी लिखने होते हैं. What are the tools, what was the time frame, and what was the particular statistical or analytical method. Okay, so method में ये complete profile दिया जाता है कि आपने क्या किया और कैसे किया, कितने टाइम तक किया. And finally analysis writing. Analysis writing में भी clearly we need to write कि क्या model है analysis का, whether you are using a qualitative research analysis, quantitative research analysis or a mixed model analysis. Mixed model अगर करते हैं, both quantitative भी लिखना होता है, qualitative भी लिखना होता है. Okay, and last but not the least, बार बार एंटी प्लागियरिज्म को एस्टैब्लिश करने के लिए, कॉपीराइट्स इन्फ्रिंजमेंट को अवॉइड करने के लिए, अपने रिसर्च को वैलिड, रिलायबल, यूजेबल And fact बनाने के लिए we need to maintain references and bibliography. Okay, so it depends on you as a researcher. It depends on the research journal book, किस पे आप प्लेटफॉर्म पे लिखने वाले हैं, वहाँ पे गाइडलाइंस होते हैं. So APA and Chicago style are the most commonly used citations, references and bibliographies. उसको छोड़ के there are many other. MPA style भी होता है, आपके regional styles भी होंगे. So please read the writing protocols first, जो notifications होंगे, information charts होंगे, and then start reflecting. Finally, I would like to take reflections from your side, and I can see it, different chats also. So okay, one of the questions that I could see from this side is how to calculate sample size when population is unknown to us or in prevalence studies. So sample size को जानने के लिए it depends कि sample availability कितनी है. Okay, so for example, for core clinical populations in which if you are taking up very discrete isolated samples, for example, leprosy cured individuals, leprosy affected individuals, leprosy cured individuals. This is one of the parts of the society which is not so-called visible in everyday society that you are, or the communities. They are so-called abandoned and isolated in some or the other way. So here you might not find that much of a larger sample to work with. So it depends on the need and demand of your research at the first place. Second is, if you are getting confused as to your population is 1000, it's difficult unless and until you have that much of a time and convenience, resources, everything कि 1000 आप population को cover करे. Sample size को simply you can do an Excel method usage or an SPSS analysis की who are the relevant samples based on the need of your research. For example, 1000 में से आपको सिर्फ adolescents पे ही काम करने हैं. Then if और एक होता है Excel में we use this particular syntax if age below 18 or age 5 to 18. इतने को ही it will reflect, बाकी 1000 को it will cut, वो सारा कुछ कट हो जाएगा. Okay, so this is the most easiest form कि कैसे हम लोग sample size को हम ले सकते हैं. When the population is unknown to us, research writing में ही we need to mention that we could not find a particular prevalence study that could reflect the population in its entirety, but given to the need or the objectives of the present research and the availability, informed consent of this particular research, this is the maybe 53, 46, 106 is the sample size of this particular study. So this is how you can start writing your research. Keep it in your mind as to how research writing can be done in its most optimal manner. I have posted my mail ID. I'm going to post for everyone over here. If any more questions, any more reflections, any doubts that you have, please feel free to connect. I would be more than happy to answer any questions or anything that you have. Already posted in the chat box. Now this is all from my side for today. I would like to request Dr. Burhan and the entire team of the organizers that research writing is definitely a vast phenomenon in itself, and if there are any question answers that are left unattended during this session, then particularly just a question answer taking session would do if the participants are interested. So this is all from my side.
मैम मैंने ये एक तो पूछना था कि लाइक जैसे अब हमें नहीं पता होता कि किसी भी सिटी में कितनी पॉपुलेशन है, तो अगर हम प्रिवेलेंस स्टडी कर रहे हैं, फॉर एग्जांपल डिप्रेशन हम देखना चाहते हैं किसी भी डिसऑर्डर, किसी और डिसऑर्डर के साथ, तो उसके लिए हमें कितना, अगर हमने सिनॉप्सिस बनाना है अपना, तो उसमें हमें कितना जो है ना वो सैंपल साइज सोचना होगा कि हमें कितने जो है ना वो लेने हैं एक तो, या हमें कन्वीनियंस सैम्पलिंग की तरफ जाना है। तो एक तो ये पूछना है। और दूसरा मुझे थोड़ा सा मैडम ये बता दें कि जैसे डिस्क्रिप्टिव स्टडी है या एनालिटिकल स्टडी है, उसमें क्रॉस सेक्शनल दोनों में है, तो उनका डिफरेंस मुझे थोड़ा सा बता दें कि उनमें कब हम उसको डिस्क्रिप्टिव कहते हैं और कब हम उसको एनालिटिकल कहते हैं।
थैंक यू फॉर योर क्वेश्चन। और अगर आप वहाँ पे बैठ सकते हैं, देन प्लीज बी सीटेड, आई विल बी आंसरिंग योर क्वेश्चन, तो प्लीज बी कंफर्टेबल। तो व्हेन इट कम्स टू, जैसे आपने पूछा कि अगर पॉपुलेशन साइज अननोन है, और अगर आप जहाँ पे भी आप कर रहे हो, फॉर एग्जाम्पल आई एम स्टेइंग इन अ सिटी, इट इज कॉल्ड एज भुवनेश्वर, so we have different websites of the Bhubaneswar Municipal Corporation, BMC. Okay, so इस वेबसाइट में हमें एक स्टेटिस्टिकल एनालिसिस मिल जाता है कि कौन से एरिया ऑफ दिस पर्टिकुलर सिटी में कितने रेजिडेंट्स हैं, उन रेजिडेंट्स में कितने लोगों का हॉस्पिटलाइजेशन हुआ है, उन हॉस्पिटलाइजेशन में कितने लोगों ने गवर्नमेंट या फिर प्राइवेट हॉस्पिटलाइजेशन उन्होंने अवेल किया है। ओके, अगर इतना, ये एक रॉ डेटा फॉर्म में होता है, देन थ्रू दिस पर्टिकुलर एस्पेक्ट वी कम टू नो कि अगर हॉस्पिटलाइजेशन हुआ है इतने लोगों का इस टाइम में, उसी हॉस्पिटल में जाके अगर हम एक शॉर्ट सर्वे टाइप करते हैं कि कौन से डिपार्टमेंट में कितना हॉस्पिटलाइजेशन हुआ है, there is a neuropsychiatry department, there is a pediatric psychiatry department, there is orthodontics, there is gynae, there एक हॉस्पिटल में lot many होते हैं ऐसे डिपार्टमेंट्स, I hope you all know. So ऐसे में वहां पे एक शॉर्ट सर्वे करके कि कौन से टाइम फ्रेम में कितना हुआ है, उसको अगर लेके आप एक सेकेंडरी डेटा यूज करते हैं तो स्कीम की आपका सैंपल साइज क्या होना चाहिए। So आपके गवर्नमेंट में if it is available, I don't know if it is available, so government में ही in India we have those micro sites of the government, जहाँ पे हमें population already मिल जाता है एक particular municipal corporation में या फिर एक particular village area में, we have our own micro sites through which we come to know कि what is the sample frame of the population that is in a particular camp. अगर ये नहीं है, ओके, अगर ये नहीं है, इसका एक लॉन्ग कट पाथ है जिसमें कि आपने डिप्रेशन से रिलेटेड प्रेवलेंस स्टडी रीजन स्पेसिफिक किया। ओके, फॉर एग्जांपल ईस्टर्न रीजन, मिडिल ईस्ट रीजन, यूरोपियन स्टेट्स, अमेरिकन स्टेट्स और बाकी जितने हैं यूएई से, आपके ऊपर डिपेंड करता है। वहां से लेके स्टडीज ऑन डिप्रेशन इन द मिडिल ईस्ट, स्टडीज ऑन डिप्रेशन फ्रॉम दी वेस्ट, गूगल स्कॉलर से सिर्फ आपको इन्हीं रीजन से रिलेटेड मिल जाएगा। तो जिन लोगों ने अपना किया होगा रिसर्च, अगर उसके सैंपल साइज को आप देख लें, जान पाए, एब्स्ट्रैक्ट में भी लिखा होता है, मेथड में भी लिखा होता है, डिस्कशन कंक्लूजन में भी लिखा रहता है, अगर वो आपको एक एक करके आप उनका एक अगेन मेटा एनालिसिस करें, दैट विल गिव यू अ ट्रेंड लाइन ऑफ हाउ मच affected the population is by a particular aspect or a phenomenon. वहां से यू कैन पिक अप योर डेटा। सो डेटा सैंपल को पाने के लिए यहाँ इतना तक करने के बाद हम सारा का सारा डेटा, फॉर एग्जांपल मिडिल ईस्ट से 96, सदर्न रीजन से 35, नॉर्दर्न रीजन से 64, ये एक एवरेज हमें मिल जाता है। देन एज स्पेसिफिक, जेंडर स्पेसिफिक, फिनोमेनन स्पेसिफिक, आपके ऊपर डिपेंड करता है कि आपने क्या गैप मिला है आपको एनालिसिस में, बेस्ड ऑन दैट सैंपल साइज इज एक्चुअली टेकन आउट। अगर कोई भी नहीं मिलता, क्योंकि कभी कभार हमें कंसेंट भी नहीं मिलता है, हम लोग जब कैंसर वार्ड में काम करते हैं, बहुत बच्चे ऐसे भी होते हैं जिनको हेल्थ इश्यूज काफी सारा एग्रेवेटेड है, कोमॉर्बिडिटीज एग्रेवेटेड है, कभी कभी कंसेंट नहीं मिलता है। सो आई एम रिपीटिंग दिस अगेन एंड अगेन, रीआइटरेटिंग दिस अगेन एंड अगेन कि नीड एंड डिमांड ऑफ योर रिसर्च प्लेज अ वेरी वाइटल रोल। जरूरी नहीं है कि आपको एकदम वर्ल्ड लेवल प्रेवलेंस मिल जाएगा, क्योंकि एक्चुअली बहुत सारे केसेस अनरिपोर्टेड। ओके, अगर आपको फिर भी डेटा चाहिए, मन नहीं मान रहा है जानने के लिए, यूएन साइट्स, यूनाइटेड नेशंस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन साइट, वेबसाइट्स है, वर्ल्ड हेल्थ ऑर्गेनाइजेशन वेबसाइट है, वहां पे यू विल गेट द कंप्लीट डेटा, prevalence, epidemiology, incidence rates. You'll find all the complete data. They are open access ones. Okay. So I hope this answers your question. First question. Second question was based on your, trying to get a clearer picture of descriptive and analysis-based analytical studies, right? Mostly qualitative studies में हम लोग descriptive एस्पेक्ट्स, टेंजेंट्स, डायमेंशंस यूज करते हैं, एंड जिसमें आप नंबर्स यूज करते हैं जिन जिन स्टडी में, फॉर एग्जांपल क्वांटिटेटिव स्टडीज में या फिर मिक्स्ड मॉडल स्टडीज में, देयर वी यूज एनालिटिकल एस्पेक्ट्स, एनालिटिकल डायमेंशंस एट द फर्स्ट प्लेस। कभी कभी पहले प्री पोस्ट डिजाइन्स होते थे, आपके रिसर्च डिजाइन को भी मद्देनजर रखना है। आपने प्री पोस्ट लिया है, प्री पोस्ट रिपीटेड मेजर्स लिया है, कोई फैक्टोरियल डिजाइन है क्या, 2x2 है, 2x3 है, 2x4 है, क्या एग्जैक्टली है, उस पर भी डिपेंड करेगा। अगर कोई वैसे फैक्टोरियल डिजाइन है ही नहीं, यू कैन गो विद डिस्क्रिप्टिव स्टडीज। अगर नंबर्स हैं, आपको रिफ्लेक्ट करना है अपनी रिसर्च में, देन एनालिटिकल डायमेंशन विल हेल्प। अगर बोथ आपको दिखाना है, बिकॉज राइट नाउ द करंट ट्रेंड इज मिक्स्ड मॉडल स्टडी, बिकॉज ओनली नंबर्स पूरा पिक्चर नहीं देते, ओनली क्वालिटेटिव स्टडीज पूरा पिक्चर नहीं देते। सो वी टेक क्वांटिटीज एज वेल एज टू ऑगमेंट दैट, उसको और ज्यादा इन्फ्लुएंशियल बनाने के लिए, इफेक्टिव बनाने के लिए, वी आर यूजिंग qualitative study in that particular research also. So mixed model is one of the best types of model available and trending these days. So descriptives is mostly when you are studying without numbers, without any statistical aspects, and analytics is inclusion of numbers or quantifying your factors in a totality. Because that will give you a very clear idea कि कैसे different types of research होते हैं, उनके outcomes क्या होते हैं. Plus, if your department signs MOUs, memorandums of understanding, with different research organizations or any organizations, academics and social based, so उससे क्या होगा कि MOUs के through you will be entering into a formal and professional international collaboration with structured and established forums through which you can extend your research profile and get published in a way that just you can enkindle it like wildfire. You spread like anything that will help you a lot. So please try to enter into memorandums of understandings. And
thank you, Dr. Sareeta. This is Dr. Burhan here. आई एम हाईली थैंकफुल कि आपने टाइम निकाला, और हमेशा जब भी आपसे कहा जाता है आप आती हैं, और इट्स अ ग्रेट रिसर्च कोलैबोरेशन बिटवीन द टू कंट्रीज, बिटवीन द टू डिपार्टमेंट्स, और दैट्स फॉर द बेटर मेंटल हेल्थ कॉज एंड द रिसर्च. So we have an honor as well